Everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here. We're talking a little Nicholls State University, and we have the Vice President of Finance, Terry Breaux, is here to talk about it. And Nicholls surviving, you get a quarantine for a couple of years. We go right into a storm, and it seems like that's everything we talk about. We've extended the COVID stuff into a storm thing. But let's talk about the storm specifically and the changes. How did that affect enrollment at the school?
So enrollment really wasn't impacted, fortunately, by the storm. When the storm hit, initially, I think we had two primary focuses, Harry. One was going to be to service the community, both the extended community as well as our campus community. And then the second was plan our own recovery. So in terms of answering the call to the broader community, at the peak of our response, we had about 2,000 first responders on campus, along with about 1,500 National Guards persons. They were working around the clock, 24-hour dispatch. They were going out into the community to help do early assessment. They were handling the mitigation, the cleanup, and whatever those communities needed in the way of support. The National Guards persons, same song. They were doing the same thing, carrying out whatever functions they needed to carry out. So that was handling sort of the community side of it. The other focus that we had was on the community right on campus. So we have what we consider to be our campus family. We have our faculty, we have our staff, and then we have our students. And so what we did was go out with assessments or go out with surveys asking them what were their needs and what did they what did they need most. What we were hearing repeatedly was they needed housing. About 21% of our students, about 20% of our faculty and staff did not have a place that they felt safe in immediately.
Wow.
I think as that term continued, they found places, but in those early days, they had no place to be. So we were trying to figure out how do you take care of that need. In addition to that, we had families that had a place to live. They didn't want to necessarily relocate from their immediate home, but they needed supplies. They needed personal items and so forth. So what we did was try to develop a program, and with the generosity of donors, we were able to provide personal belongings, cleaning supplies, and so forth. They could come to campus and get those items. Or in fact, we had two different opportunities to go down, one South Lafourche and one South Terrebonne, and deliver those items out into those communities. So that's how we sort of responded, if you will, to that campus family. And then the other focus that we had during that whole time was getting the campus back up and running. Fortunately, we were not as badly impacted as some of the lower lying areas, but we still had things that impacted our ability to deliver an education to our students.
Sure.
We didn't have power. We had running water, but we didn't have a roof, or had some interior damage and so forth. And so it took us about 2 weeks, but we were able to, once utilities were restored, we were able to work with mitigation teams, get those items taken care of. Within 3 weeks, we were offering online courses. Within 4 weeks, our students were back on campus, and we were actually delivering on-campus courses.
Wow, so only a month you were really out.
And I think that contributed largely to the fact that our students felt like they had a safe place to be, and they didn't necessarily have to go and look for another university for fall 21.
Right. Oh, look, I mean, this is a lot of people commute in from those communities to come into campus, and I imagine how tough was it for a lot of those kids to go, all right, I'm leaving my house and I had so much work to do, but now I got to go try and concentrate on the classwork. Absolutely.
And so what we were doing was COVID taught us that the classroom isn't the only place that you can teach. So we introduced hybrid or high flex courses where a faculty member would be in a classroom talking to and teaching the class members right in front of them, and then at the same time talking via internet connection to their extended audience and the students that were outside the classroom. We had about 750 hotspots that were provided through AT&T to provide internet access to students that might otherwise not have had that access. They were able to use that access, continue their studies, and so, for an hour they might be helping in their house trying to get something ready, whether it was their house or their parents' house, and then for another hour we were sort of a distraction and letting them focus on something other than that work. Focus on school work and then progress forward.
Right. No, amazing. Did the campus swell? I mean, like people that might have been living in apartments. I know around Houma, they just kicked everybody out of apartments, right? Did some of those folks end up on campus or around there that could maybe find housing there?
Yes. So as I said, in the early days, people were feeling like they didn't have a place to go. As things sort of quieted down a little bit, we still found that about 135 individuals, along with their families, didn't have a place to stay that they felt safe in. So we were able to with temporary housing on campus, some of that made possible through donors, we were able to accommodate about 135 individuals, along with some family members. We also became a bit more pet friendly. We had extra dogs and cats on campus, but we were meeting those overall needs.
And so your dorms made it out pretty good shape?
Yes.
So that y'all didn't have to do that?
Yep.
So what's the rest of the semester look like?
Rest of the semester, students right now are going through their beginning finals starting on Friday, and the semester got extended about 1 week, and they'll graduate on Saturday, December the 18th.
Oh, that's right.
And then we'll start back again in the spring and finish off the academic year.
Yeah, it's been a while, and we talked to everybody. It's 100 days since the storm, but it's 2 years since life just kind of changed. So it's been a different time for sure. So Terry, thank you so much for making time for us, and we appreciate it. Glad to know Nicholls is doing pretty good.
Yep, thanks for having us.
Okay, we'll be right back with more Bayou Time right after this.